everybody, and welcome to another great episode of You, Me, and ICED. I'm Dedra Stevenson, and I'm here with my co-host, Richard Dockett, otherwise
Good
known as
afternoon.
Richard Dee. And he's got about 16 novels out there in the world and more probably to come, right?
Oh, I hope so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're
There will be
like
some.
me, which I think you are, we're never going to stop writing, are we?
I never thought I'd
No,
start, and now I don't know if I'm ever going to stop. So
no, I don't think we will. I don't think we will because people like us have to have that in our lives. There's something very
mm,
satisfying about putting our work out there. But that's not the only thing we've done, is it? I mean, we
oh, that's
have
true.
worked on a cookbook together.
That's very true. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a new
And
departure
that's
for
what
me.
we're
Yeah.
talking about today.
Okay.
Cookbooks and causes. Yeah. I mean, well, first of all, it's like I guess I should mention the book I'm referring to. It's Breaking Bread Around the World. It's a book that I released a few years ago. Um, and it was for a cause, and it is still. I mean, it's not like it's gone or anything. It's still available out there, hardback, paperback, and ebook form. And Richard made a contribution to that,
I
in
did.
fact.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, what was the recipe that you gave me?
It was one of my favorite recipes for a lunchtime bread, which is a meal in itself because the dough has other things incorporated in it. I gave you the version for a savory type of roll, but you can also do sweet ones as well. And there's a recipe for a sweet one on my website, actually, which uses the same formula,
Uh-huh.
just with different
You do a
additions.
lot of breads. I see a lot of that on your
I
pages.
do,
You know,
yeah.
you
Um,
you're you're
yeah,
you're quite the baker.
when I first retired, I had this sort of quaint idea of running a small bakery just to give me something to do in retirement, you know.
Yeah.
And I set it up, and I became a victim of it because I found myself within a few short weeks I was working harder than I had when I've been at work. I was getting up at 4 o'clock every morning, which is not a natural state of affairs. And
No.
I was within 6 months I was faced with either having to scale it up and get some premises and some extra staff and all the things that went with it, all the paperwork and
Mhm.
uh, it just seemed like a bit too much like hard work. So unfortunately, I had to scale it back from there. But I still bake all
Yeah.
my own bread, and I bake for neighbours and family. And when my children come to visit, I get a list of requests. So yeah, it's
I'm
something I
sure
enjoy
you
doing.
do.
It's
It
it's
looks
just unfortunate.
amazing.
Yeah.
You're in the UK. I'm all the way over here in the UAE, but my mouth is watering when I'm seeing those pictures
That's very kind of you to say
online.
so. Yeah, yeah.
Food
It's
really
nice.
unites us, does it
It
not? I
does
mean,
very much. That's right. Yeah,
that's why I
yeah.
think that so many cookbooks actually can work, to support a cause,
Mm.
because food is a universally binding kind of thing to do, to sit down and break bread together. I mean, that's the reason for the name choice, for my cookbook, Breaking Bread Around the World, because it's 30 meal plans. Basically, it's like it's entrees, side dishes, and dessert recipes from 30 countries around the world that I selected, and it was based on a little fun experiment that I started doing during the month of Ramadan, because we fast in Ramadan, being in Muslim and everything. And, I just, my kids, they have a lot of Christian friends and everything. And I guess I got a little sad, hearing them say, oh, why don't we have something as fun as that, and tradition. So I decided to try to make Ramadan more fun, for them. So I said, okay, we may not be able to travel all the time, but we can travel in our kitchen, every day.
Yeah.
We can go to a new country. Let's try a new cuisine every single day. And did my research. I looked it up during the day. I mean, when between prayer times and everything, I was looking at recipes and cultures, and what was the most popular cultural dishes, of the places that I wanted to sample food from.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
before I knew it, I was posting it online and people were really enjoying that.
Oh yeah,
And
it was good. I used to look forward to seeing where you were going today, sort of thing, and what you were cooking. And having travelled a lot myself, I've always enjoyed trying something local whenever I went anywhere.
oh, well, see, now that's the way to travel,
Yeah,
actually. That really is. I really don't like it when Americans go to another country and they look for where the McDonald's is, or I mean,
yeah.
what's the point of going anywhere?
Well, yeah, that's right.
You
Yeah.
should you should try the food from the country you're visiting because it's part of the experience,
Oh yeah, very
and if
much.
possible with somebody from there, it's even better,
Mm,
because you will sit down and make a friend.
yeah.
I'm a firm believer that when you break bread with someone, you become friends
Oh,
at
that's
that
true.
point.
Very true. Yeah.
It's very diplomatic, to sit down and have a meal with people. And
It's
I
very
don't
hard to
know,
argue with your mouth full, isn't it?
it really is. Yes, that's true. That is so
Yeah.
true. In the deep South where I'm
Mm,
from Alabama, I mean, food is very important, and I think if Arabs and Southern people got together, they would figure out that they have so much in common, in that regard. I mean, they do so much of the same thing. I mean, big food, big portions, and they keep on heaping it on your plate and telling you, no, 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 have more, come on, you don't be shy. Are you trying to go on a diet or something here? Have some more.
yeah.
Where I
It's
come
a
from,
great.
it's the same
Yeah,
thing.
it's great. Yeah, it's a
It's
great
very
way
hard to be
of
thin.
yeah, socializing. Sure, that's right.
There's people shoving food in your face all the time. I mean, it's really hard to be a thin person.
Yeah.
Because I mean they if you're sitting there with your salad and they're sitting there with their big plate of biryani, which is like a cultural dish
Ooh.
here. It's
Mm.
like a meat and rice or chicken and rice kind of dish, and the meat is cooked sort of inside, and there's one called muklaba. Very delicious. Oh my God. The chicken and the onions and everything are on the bottom, and the rice is on top, and it just sort of
Yeah.
steams up, and then you sort of flip it over on the plate and it just sort of falls beautifully like that. So delicious. Oh my God.
Ooh.
Like I said,
Well, you're
very
making me
difficult to
hungry
be
now.
thin. No. Now, if you were over here, we could sit down and have some iced tea and some baklava. Yeah,
Sounds good to
that
me.
would be
Yeah, I'll
great.
go with that.
Yeah. In the South, that would be more like fried chicken, and mashed
Hmm.
potatoes, or so big corn on the cob, and
Oh yeah,
biscuits. You
yeah.
can't have
Mm.
a Southern meal without giant biscuits, which you call scones,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. I
over
know. I
there.
know. Yeah, yeah.
And scones are
I've
more
made the
sweet in
American type,
England.
and they're delicious. Yeah, they
Oh,
are lovely.
scones are the best, aren't they? I mean,
Yeah.
I've learned how to make them the English way as well.
Hmm.
And I think that, in fact, in my book, when one of the countries is the UK, in fact, in England, and there's a recipe for scones there, if I'm not mistaken. Right.
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
have a lovely, in fact, I have found a wonderful vegan recipe for vegan chocolate chip scones that my
Okay.
kids are crazy for.
Hmm.
Oh, that's another thing I didn't mention until now, right? The fact that the book has vegan choices.
Hmm.
Well, because, I think, we can definitely agree that being vegan is, a cause in the world, whether you agree with it or not. I mean, I'm not a vegan personally. I do eat meat and chicken, but I that's not to say that I do not admire them. I have a great deal of respect for someone who has the discipline to
Yeah,
become
yeah,
vegan.
yeah.
Yeah.
My youngest daughter's vegan. She lives in
Really?
yeah,
See?
she lives in Australia, but she actually helps run a beef farm, but she's vegan,
Oh,
which
really?
is a bit of a contradiction, but she seems to work for her. And yet, to be honest, she does look very fit and healthy on it. So there's something in it, and I admire her choices and I admire her discipline. Yeah, as you said,
Exactly.
in that she does it, and it's great.
and sometimes, most of them, when you ask, why are you doing this? It's environmental reasons,
Mm.
because of the, emissions, from, livestock. I had no idea that 60% of the life on this planet are actually livestock. Did you know that?
Oh, so, I didn't know that
60%.
figure, but it doesn't
That
surprise
is
me.
an
Yeah,
insane amount of,
yeah,
life on this planet that's all cows, pigs, and chickens and
it is.
goats.
Yeah,
I mean, my God, how much do people really need to eat? I mean, good heavens. Anyway, but yeah, the argument there is that it's not sustainable. While it may be delicious, and we may enjoy them very much, those of us who do enjoy a meat diet, it's not sustainable for the long term, and it does do irreparable damage to the environment. That sooner or later we're all going to have to switch over to vegetables made meat that is actually made out of vegetables, but it's made to taste like meat, which
mm,
actually
yeah.
so many places can do remarkably well. Now, have you ever tried Beyond Meat?
To be honest, I haven't, no. But
Oh
I've
my
tried
gosh, it
what they call it corn in the UK. It's a soya-based meat protein, and that's quite nice. That's okay.
it
But
is.
I haven't actually gone to the other thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh
I'm
yeah,
not
it's not too
talking
bad.
about
You can use
soy
it like
burgers though.
yeah. It's these are okay. It's not my preference. I do prefer a good steak, but or a nice piece of
Oh,
chicken.
so
But it
do
has to
I.
be high welfare. It has to be organic if I can, and I want something that's been looked
True.
after. Certainly, my daughter looks after her animals and she respects them. I think that's just as important as anything else, rather than just getting something because it's cheap.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would 100% agree with you there. See, there's another cause that one could argue, about cookbooks and food and, how this all plays into also doing your part, in the
Mm.
world. Um, I don't know. I mean, even Gordon Ramsay, as much of I'm a huge fan of his, by the way, huge, huge fan of
He's a
Gordon
bit
Ramsay.
scary, but yeah,
I know
yeah.
he's scary, but I respect him because he just wants it a certain way
Mm.
and he wants everyone to just listen, and get with the program. And I really, gotta admire that. And we have a
Oh
Hell's
yeah, yeah.
Kitchen here in Dubai. Actually, it's fantastic. It's just wonderful. It's where we really enjoy going, when we have a special occasion. In fact, I should probably hashtag them now. But it's wonderful. And as much as he was not a fan of the vegan lifestyle originally, even he sort of, had to take a second look there. And
Mm.
now all of his restaurants have a vegan option.
Yeah, well, that's good.
So
That's
that is
important.
very
Yeah,
good. It
yeah,
is
yeah.
something that we must sort of embrace, as we move forward in the future. When I looked up cookbooks and causes online, I found so many interesting books, though. There was even a
Mm.
book called Suffrage, like cookbooks for
Oh yeah.
suffrage cookbook, And now, what was that about? I wonder. I mean, it was a bunch of ladies who gathering money up for their cause, by selling the cookbook. Maybe their
I,
family
I
recipes?
I think there's a lot of that in there. I mean, in the UK at the moment, we have a lot of the charities are producing cookery books, especially now with the price of the food going up. It's important to make sure that everyone knows how to get the most out of what they can afford. And certainly something like
Exactly.
that, it works both ways because it helps the people that buy it and it helps the charity that
Yeah.
sells it. And because the chefs give the recipes for a nominal or no fee at all, and everyone
Yeah.
benefits, and that's the great advantage in that. In that's what it fulfills more than one purpose. Then,
It absolutely does.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. I mean, it's very important for people to learn how to not only make things fresh and delicious, to eat at home and with very little money, I mean, with times pretty hard, by the economy and everything now. I mean, that makes total sense. And
yeah,
it's really good PR, for a chef to offer
mm,
that kind of thing. I mean, they don't even have to really do it for altruistic causes always. I mean, it's just look good, to help people out. I mean, not that people wouldn't actually, we still go to restaurants when we have special occasions, do we not? Always.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I think I read somewhere that there are three professions that are pretty much inflation proof. Now, I don't know what you think about it, but one of them was movies, that
Hmm.
people will always find a way to watch movies. So movies is pretty much, economy, it's ironclad, it's inflation proof. There's always going to be new movies no matter what. So
Yeah,
so movies, makeup, and chicken. Can you
chicken.
believe
Yeah,
that? And
yeah,
chicken.
yeah. It's it's funny. I was talking to my wife a couple of days ago about chicken, and now chicken is something that you eat not all the time, but a lot of the time. And certainly when I was
Yes,
growing up here in Devon, chicken was something that you had as a luxury. It was something you
really.
might have. Yeah, it's something you'd have for Easter for a holiday, and we eat beef all the time because beef
Right.
was cheap. Yeah, beef was cheap and chicken was
Here in
expensive.
the
But now
UAE, it's
it's the
the
other way
same
around.
thing.
Mm,
Chicken was not always something that people would eat all the time here in the UAE either. The traditional diet was always fish, salad, and just white rice and like a saluna, something that like a thin sort of sauce, like a
mhm.
fish sauce, to go over the rice to kind of drizzle over it. And
Yeah.
that was the traditional diet because everybody, being a coastal country, it's very easy to get fresh fish, here. And it
Yeah,
used to be a
sure.
lot
Yeah.
cheaper.
Hmm.
Now the price of fish is shot up, so fish is expensive.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, we live in probably what's the largest fishing port in this part of England, anyway, and one of the largest
True.
ones in the country. But the price of fish is it has certainly shot up. Yeah,
It's
very
really
much.
not fair, is it? Because you're right
No,
there and the fresh fish are
it's
right there.
yeah. The fish market's about 10 minutes walk from a house, but yeah.
And they don't even do they allow you to fish in Devon?
Oh yeah.
You know,
You can go and
to
you can go
you can
and try and
cast
catch
your
your own.
rod out there and
Yeah,
catch your own
yeah.
fish?
Yeah,
Oh,
or you,
that's
you can
incredible.
go down the market and buy your own stuff, but it's not as cheap as it used to be. The
Yeah,
quality's superb. But
yeah.
unfortunately, like everything, is it costs the boats more to go out and catch it now. So unfortunately, you have to pay more for it.
Right. So it's easier just to go buy that chicken, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just make that chicken at home. I
that's
know.
right.
Yeah. It's a shame because the fresh fish diet with salad, that's such a healthy
Mm.
way to eat too. I mean, so heart healthy and so good for the brain as well.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
do
speaking of
like the fish. Yeah.
health, I really do quite enjoy cookbooks that promote a good, healthy lifestyle too, because,
Hmm.
we were just talking over the last podcast I was on, about blessings and sharing your grace and everything. And, the thing is that health really is our greatest wealth, is it not? I
Oh yeah,
mean,
yeah. If you haven't got
yeah.
your health, you haven't got much, have you? You can
You
manage it
can't
out other
enjoy
things.
anything
Yeah,
else.
that's
That's
right.
the
Yeah,
thing. I mean, it doesn't really matter how much material stuff you have. If you got your health, you got nothing.
yeah. That's very true.
Honestly. So cookbooks really can contribute a lot towards people learning how to cook healthy things for themselves as
Yeah.
well. You know, and, and did you know that 80% of cookbooks sell by word of mouth?
Oh really?
It's incredible. Yeah, yeah, they're really not
That
advertised
is an astonishing figure.
like
Yeah.
novels. I mean,
Mm,
just us
yeah.
chatting about it now is pretty much how it's done, you know.
Sure. It's,
Yeah, that's incredible. So do you feel like there's a cookbook in your future?
mm, I don't know. A lot of the recipes that I make, I must admit, aren't necessarily my own. So I'd hesitate to sort of produce them in a book, I suppose. I put a few of my favourites on my website, and they're free to download. And I do talk about what I cook, but I can't claim the credit for most of it. I'll tweak a recipe and put my own touch on it, but whether that counts as something new and original, I'm not
I think it does. I mean, if nobody's ever
really.
tried it that
Yeah.
way before.
Mm,
Yeah.
I'll never say
Well, now tell everybody
never.
your
Anyway,
website
never
again
say
so that they know where to get your free recipes from.
okay, the website is www.richarddee. That's Richard all one word. Richard Dee Sci-Fi, SCIFI, all in one word. .uk. Is that
Awesome.
Is that
Awesome.
okay? Did you get that? Yeah.
That's so great.
But
And I
if you
think
look
that
on there if you look on the main menu, there's a tab that says recipes, and just click on there, and they're all
that's
there for you.
fantastic. Well, I think it's great. It's just part of your passion to do that.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm glad we got a chance to talk about this because you and I are both foodies, you know. It's been really
Much.
great to talk to another food enthusiast about this particular topic. So I guess this is about the end of our session here.
Children to good food. Great talking as usual.
As usual, this has been so much fun talking about cookbooks and causes. And, you know, if you end up trying Breaking Bread Around the World, don't forget to look for Richard's recipe in my book, you know, which I'm really proud to have, you know, one of his originals.
I've used
What's that? I think.
I've used a lot of the recipes in your book, and they're fantastic, and I'd recommend it to anyone. Oh yeah, very much.
Thank you. I could not ask for a better testimonial. That's incredible. It's almost as good as if Gordon had said it. I'm going to hashtag Gordon Ramsay too and see if there's any way he'll reply to me. Sometimes I imagine him in the kitchen, you know, when I'm cooking something new, and I'm wondering what he'd be saying. Like, yes, that looks good. Yes, put more of that. No, less of that, Dedra. Don't be silly. Come on. Or he wouldn't use such polite language, would he?
No, that's very true.
Absolutely not. Okay, well, have a great day. It just goes by so fast. Incredible.
It does.
I love this 30 minutes. It just flies by. So next time we'll be back, and hopefully with Rodney joining us again. You know, he had a deadline for, you know, a product production, so he had to be there at work, but we're hoping that he's back with us next week. So until then,
look forward to it.
Y'all come back now. You hear?
Bye.
Bye.